Hello everybody, my name's Nadia and I'm a member of the marketing team at Oaklands College. Thank you for joining our webinar today to find out about the college and the opportunities available to you. Last week we should have held our open days, but due to the current circumstances, obviously this wasn't possible. However, we wanted to offer you the next best thing, which is this webinar today, giving you the chance to see some of our facilities, find out more about the courses, meet some of our tutors, and to hear about college life. With us today, we have our head of departments, Gary Morgan and Susan Taylor, and members of the curriculum available for questions and answers, plus some of our student support team. If you have any questions, please use the chat functionality and the team will answer. We can also take questions after the webinar. Can I ask that everyone's video cameras are turned off and audio set to mute for the webinar? We don't want to keep you too long and are aiming to run for around 30 minutes. We'll also record this session and post the link on our website. Now, we understand these are difficult times for you and want to assure you that Oaklands College are here to support you on the next stage in your education journey. On behalf of the college, I'd like to also thank the NHS and key workers for all of their amazing support and work throughout the coronavirus. Now I'm going to hand you over to Gary to take you through the presentation.
Thanks, Nadia. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ICT Applied Science, Engineering and Construction's first virtual open day. Oaklands College is a large further education college in Hertfordshire with campuses in Welwyn Garden City, St Albans, and a newly opened campus in Boreham Wood that supports the community learning. The college is a wide range of learning opportunities, which we're very, very proud of. The idea at the college is there's something for everybody. So please make sure that you have a good look if you don't think you hear what you're looking for today, because I'm pretty sure that you will find it at Oaklands College. We have courses running from entry level all the way up to degree. Currently, there's approximately about 1,500 full-time students, and we offer part-time courses across both campuses. Today, I'm going to be talking about applied science and ICT. I'm the head of department, as Nadia says, and there are some of the curriculum team here, just in case there's any tricky questions. But all of the courses, bar one ICT course that we're talking about today, are based at the Welwyn Garden City campus. The only course that's offered at St Albans is a level 3 programme where students are trying to tap into the sports academy and they need to add in a curriculum offer and ICT is their choice. It's a level 3 programme. You already need to have your maths and English. But again, if it's something you're interested in, you'll be able to talk to us about it and we'll be able to see what we can do. Not everything's set in stone. We do have some of the sporting academy students who don't always have the GCSEs, but Oaklands College prides itself on flexibility and trying to support everybody in their goals. We've got some world-class facilities, particularly in the engineering department. We've got high-spec science labs. There's also art laboratories. So just to clarify on the art laboratories, they do games design in media. So it's a media laboratory and they've got the latest software. The Engineering Resource Centre is wonderfully kitted out. You can see in some of the pictures, there's messing around with robotics, there's pneumatics. There's also the fundamental engineering. So there's a great mechanical and fabrication workshop. And as an ICT practitioner, an electronics lab that I'm very envious, because some of my PC maintenance students would definitely like to get a go in there working with some of those. The high spec science labs. So we've got 4 science labs. Offering a range of where they're dedicated for biology, for example, and then we've got general science labs. And within the computing department, we've got PC maintenance labs. We've also got cybersecurity hub. So I'm sure that anybody that's interested in ICT, particularly with what's going on in the world, will have noticed that cyber was mentioned once again, where there's been some attack or some penetration attempt where they're working on vaccines and different things linked to the coronavirus. Lots and lots of employability opportunities from any of the pathways. But again, There will be a 360, a tour sent out, so I believe that will be coming out after the webinar, and then you'll obviously be able to have a little look. And as soon as everything settles down, obviously we'll welcome everybody into the college just so you can come and see the spaces and engage with the tutors in their home turf, such as it was. Okay, so I'm now going to be handing over to my coordinators. So each of the departments will have a coordinator in their specialist area, someone that will turn around and make sure that all the students are getting the best support possible. And they're now going to turn around and take you through. So I'm going to hand over to Sharon, who's going to turn around and talk a little bit about applied science. Thank you, Sharon.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. So for applied science, we have 3 levels. We have the level 2 extended certificate applied science. So this year will be, or the next academic year will be our first year offering the NQF, okay? And level 2 is good for those that do not meet or quite meet the entry requirements for level 3. So if for any reason you don't quite meet the entry requirements to go into the level 3, please do not hesitate to apply for the level 2. It will offer you a firm foundation for all the 3 sciences. So that's biology, chemistry, and physics. And you will also be able to do your maths and English alongside. With our level 3 first year, so that as well for the next academic year will be the RQF. So you will have a mixture of assignments and exams, and again focusing on the 3 elements, biology, maths, chemistry, and also physics. We will be looking at different pathways. So we have a general science pathway, we have the forensic pathway, and also biomedical science pathway. And we will then be progressing onto the second year, where you will be able to go onto the different pathways that I just mentioned. We also have another colleague, Luke Newton, that will be able to give you a bit more information on the level 2, as he's been leading on that this academic year. Luke, can I hand over to you?
Yeah, hi, my name's Luke. So I'm the actual personal tutor and kind of leading on the level 2 extended certificate in applied science. So like Sharon mentioned, it relates, if you are applying for the level 2, that's because maybe you haven't quite met the requirements for level 3, and we would require 3 grades at a level 3 or a grade D as it used to be, and above, including either English or maths. Okay, so we need at least one of them in order to progress onto science, because it is quite an intensive year for you. Like Sharon mentioned, it covers a range of different modules, so you'll do 12 different modules over the time, and that will mostly consist of biology, chemistry, and physics, but also some more of our applied modules. So, for example, a forensic module, a working in the industry module, in order to help you progress onto then the level 3 and then future study as well. Class sizes are generally small. We help, me as the personal tutor will help you in order to progress on to level 3, and we have a very well-balanced approach in order for you to progress on and continue with us in science. And it has been a very, very popular course for the past few years that I've been here. So again, if you are interested, feel free to leave some questions at the end. Okay, Sharon, back to you for level 3.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Luke. So again, for our level 3 first year diploma, as I mentioned earlier, we will be starting a new qual. Some of the units that we will be looking at will be the likes of science investigation skills. We'll also be looking at physiology, human body systems. So I know sometimes as applicants, people will be curious as to what sort of modules or what sort of topics that they will be looking at. So if you've got any questions at the end, by all means, please use the chat facility, and we'll be at hand to answer any of the questions that you may have. Back to you, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Sharon. One of the key things to note there, and there's been lots of information given, so really important, if you've got follow-up questions, please put them into the chat. If you find you watch this over when it's put up onto the website and you think, oh, now I've got a question, you'll be able to contact us again. The really important thing is that next year's science offer has all been upgraded to the latest qualifications to make sure that it's meeting the needs of industry. So your needs, so everybody looking to turn around and progress to either university, higher apprenticeship, or straight into a job. It depends, because as I said, we've got something for everybody. I feel really, really confident that the team will be able to build on the success that they've had in the last couple of years. Very popular courses. Now we're starting to work in the pathways. So I'll move on now. So now I'll be handing over to Asif. Asif will be talking about the ICT, the computing offer. Over to you, Asif.
Good morning, everyone. The IT offer is an exciting one. It builds the skills that you need in the industry, the behaviours that employers are looking for, and the knowledge that's needed. I've got my colleague, Colin Wright, who actually looks at our level 1 diploma in IT. We were looking at our level 2, level 3 courses as well. So Colin, I'm going to start off with you. Colin, you there?
Hi everyone.
Can you explain a little bit about the level 1 to everyone?
Good morning everyone. The level 1 course is a 1-year course. It's designed to give you a broad spectrum of knowledge in a range of computer applications. So we will cover things like desktop publishing, website software, spreadsheet software, using the internet, improving productivity in the workplace. So by following the level 1 qual, you'll pick up a broad spectrum of knowledge and skills that will enable you to improve your employability skills and to move on to level 2. The course is 3 days a week. It's portfolio based, and it covers a broad range of interesting subjects on which you're able to build and develop your IT skills. The course is heavily supported, so within class you have a lot of support. The tutors are very supportive, and it's designed really to build on your existing skills or develop your skills, both to move on up to level 2 and for employability skills. Asif, would you like to?
Thank you, Colin. So what we have are well-qualified industry experienced staff members who can deliver these courses. The level 2 is equivalent to 3 GCSEs grade 4 and above, and is assessed through various ways, through practical observations, through assessments, and we go into the computer science. It's an introduction to computer science. So the programming units where you develop your programming skills. There's networking and PC maintenance, those skills that are really important in industry at the moment. Those course units which are developed in there. There's also web design skills as well as those softer important skills that are necessary for IT, future IT employees. Once you've completed those courses, we move on to our level 3 courses, which are equivalent to A levels. The first year, a foundation diploma, where we look at IT security, which Gary mentioned. The fundamentals of IT security is so important in today's world, and these are fresh courses, RQF courses, new, which are developed. We also look into programming, and we develop programming skills further, and we look at systems development. These are courses that we develop in the first year. As Gary said, we offer this at both St Albans and at Welwyn Garden City. The Year 2 programme builds upon the Year 1 programme, and we look at games development, the application of programming further. And once completed these courses, you can go into apprenticeships. A really important big field that's available to IT and computing students. Also available are progressing into universities and really good courses that are available at universities and jobs as well. Part of all these courses, which I'm going to lead back to, Gary, are vendor qualifications, which are embedded both at level 2 and level 3. Gary, do you want to develop some of those vendor qualifications?
Yeah, thank you, Asif. Thank you, Colin. So just building on what the guys have said, the commitment of Oaklands is not just to run courses that we think people would be interested in, because obviously ICT, very popular course, just like science. But what we want to do is make sure that we're providing the skills, the opportunity, and the training from professional people so that you've got the best opportunity to move into your career choice, which can be a host, as already outlined. It can be software development, it can be networking, it can be security, it can be systems maintenance. So yeah, every student who joins the IT department has access to the Cisco Networking Academy. We give them straight to IT Essentials, which is a level 2 technician's qualification, mappable against CompTIA. So Cisco and CompTIA, two of the largest vendor qualification producers in the world. BCS, we work with BCS in line with the cyber apprenticeships that we do, and obviously network associate apprenticeships. So there's lots and lots of scope. We're also, once we've embedded our new level 3, because the level 3 we changed again last year, all the qualifications in IT are the most recent and up to date, just to make sure that we're giving you the best qualifications to move forward with, the best training. We will then be looking to add in level 4 and level 5, so H&Cs, HNDs, because they align quite nicely with apprenticeship standards, which is another big push. The government are always interested in recruiting for cyber apprenticeships and networking systems engineers and cloud engineers. So very similar, obviously works with the network context. Okay, so hopefully lots of information again, maybe generated some questions because we may not have covered everything. I think the general gist has been given, but if we haven't covered it all, right, apologies. If we haven't covered it all, please put some questions into the chat and we will turn around and we will answer them. Construction, environment, engineering, the areas that she manages. Over to you, Susan.
Hi, thank you very much, Gary. Welcome, everybody. Strange times indeed, doing this from the spare room, but we're cracking on a bit. We're here for you at Oaklands. So thank you for your interest in construction and built environment and engineering. We're quite a large department in the college. We have almost 700 students and apprentices studying across both of those curriculum areas with us, ranging from level 2 up to level 5. And we have a partnership with the University of Hertfordshire where we now do top-up degrees. So right up to level 6 within both construction and engineering, which is fantastic. We work with a number of major employers. Just to name drop a few, we have Wilmot Dixon, Balfour Beatty, the BRE on construction, and then with engineering, just to name a very few, Airbus, Ocado and Coca-Cola. Next slide, please, Clary. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Joan Sheridan, who's my coordinator for construction and the built environment. She's just going to briefly talk you through the qualifications that we offer in construction and civil engineering. Joan.
Hi guys, this is Joan. I'm one of the lecturers in the construction and the built environment. We have the newest qualifications, and we've started them already this year, and that is the BTEC Foundation Diploma in Construction and the Built Environment. That's your first year, and then your second year, if you do the 2 years, which we expect you to do really, to be honest, is extended diploma in construction and the built environment. As Susan just said, you can progress really easily and quickly, and a lot of our students do, to HNC constructions, and then we break it into another pathway, which is civil engineering. So if I would talk about the level 3 for maybe 2-3 minutes, it's a qualification that's based around both exams and coursework. So you'll have 3 units that are worth maybe, they're worth quite a lot of time, but they are exams based, and they are around science and materials, construction principles, construction design, So feasibility studies of the built environment, evaluating environmental issues, and those would be your 2 exams with a little bit of CAD and Revit in that as well. Is based around costing your buildings, and that role there would be quantity surveying. Other parts that we do, we have to do with you is land surveying, building surveying. So land surveying is we use theodolites, total stations, GPS systems for quantifying the levels on the land, and then we do the built environment building surveying unit, which is, again, it relates to one of the roles in the industry, which is building surveying, which is taking measured surveys, taking stock checks of the building, evaluating what state the building's in. So that's one of the other units. I do a reasonable amount of Revit, AutoCAD, hand drawings, and that's one of the assessments as well. And that is built as a skill pretty much throughout this new qualification. So that's really good as well. Measuring and estimating, as I said earlier, is the quantity surveying side, our project management side. So there's that as well. So those are the options. Architectural technology for students go, quantity surveying, civil engineering. You do engineering or this one, building surveying, and a lot go into project management. So those are the options for construction in the built environment. And then, as I said, we have the HNC level 4. The qualifications to get into them are reasonably like what you've already heard. There's kind of a cross standard that you're probably beginning to be aware of, which is you're seeing English, you're seeing maths, preferably a C in English, definitely a C in maths or the old grades of C's. We like science, to have a science one or maybe a design technology one, but we take 4 grades at that level. Other things that you might be interested in is we have work placements, we have Wilmot Dixon's come in and their architects share the projects that they're on, and we hopefully get out to site. And now that actually we're able to do Teams meetings so easily because of this coronavirus, I'm expecting that we might be able to get a lot more guest lectures in virtually and to see us anyway. The architectural route is there, but after a few conversations with a few students, architecture is quite wide and quite arty, but there is a route through this straight into university for architecture technology, which is, again, it's quite technical, it's CAD, it's Revit. We do like you to be able to be reasonably comfortable with maths. There is a reasonable amount of maths throughout it. There's a reasonable amount of sketching throughout it. There's a reasonable amount of ICT skills. And in the built environment particularly, it's about teamwork. So we do assess and we do sort of try to develop your skills on presentations, talking, and group work. Okay, so I think I'll hand you back to Susan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joan. That was great. I'm going to now pass over to Paul Turnbull, who's my level 3 and level 2 engineering coordinator, and he's going to similarly talk you through some of our engineering courses. Paul.
Thank you, Susan. So just to get started, I'll just talk briefly about the different options we've got, and then I'll go through each one in a little bit more detail. So we've got from the level 2 extended certificate in engineering through to the level 3 and on to the level 4 and 5 qualifications. The starting point for quite a few of the students where they've perhaps got GCSE grades of the right grade, they'll come on to the level 3. But obviously for people who have not quite got the right grades for the entry there's no reason why start at the level 2 and then still work your way all the way up through and go to higher education at the end of it. Everything is possible with all of these qualifications. So with the level 2 extended certificate in engineering, that's a 1-year course, and it would be the content of that is where it's mainly practical based, but there are 1 or 2 exams that you would have to take as you're going through the qualification. What it looks at is it looks at the world of engineering in the whole sense of where things are made, how things are made, how things are put together. We also look at how the world of engineering has changed over the years and how we've got the integration of electronics and mechanical systems all together. And all of this is practice-based. Computers now taken over, and the Internet of Things, and also the fact that all of the manufacturing that we've got is all of the high tech, and it goes off into that areas. So at the end of the first year, you would have that qualification. The option is then to go on to the level 3, or as we've got various students who come into the level 3 if they've got the right grades of the maths and the English, the GCSEs. It's a 2-year course, although there is a stopping off point at year 1, depending what the progression options are, whether you get an apprenticeship or the chance of going on and getting a job. So the types of units that you would be doing in the level 3 move on from the level 2 and give you the options of going to look at the computer aided drafting, also then going into hydraulics and pneumatics and how things are moving around in the world. Also the fact that we've got more of the computers, and again you do more and more in-depth electronics. So that's what we've got for the level 3. As I said, it's a 2-year course. Once you progress from the year 1, you progress onto the year 2, and obviously the options when you've finished at the end of the year 2, you've got on to go on to the higher education. So we've got people who apply and go on to universities all around the country, and also quite a few of our students, as Susan was mentioning, we've got links with many of the manufacturing companies in the area, and quite a few of the engineering companies as well. People going into aviation and also into the manufacturing industries. So an awful lot go off and do an apprenticeship. And the good thing that we've got is the fact that the level 3 qualification actually forms part of those apprenticeships. So actually, when you finish that qualification, you are very valuable to the employers, because you've actually achieved part of that apprenticeship before you even start work with them. So it's like you're oven ready, as I quote Boris, to say that you can actually get onto that apprenticeship, and you would be highly sought after, and you know, perhaps jump the queue to get onto getting employment with those companies. Then obviously from that, for people we've got employed, and that generally would come back and do the HNCs and HNDs. Quite often they're sponsored by the companies who, after the end of their apprenticeship, would come back and do the level 4 and 5 qualifications. We have an awful lot of employed people for the big companies who come back on those qualifications. I think there's going to be another presentation about higher education that you can come and watch at another day. And also quite a few people who finished at the level 3 go on to the extended degree program, which is part of the University of Hertfordshire, and that's another stepping stone to get you straight into the degree programs in engineering and manufacturing at the local university or further afield. So I think that's all I'm going to say about those qualifications. The only thing I was going to say is part of the fact that they are part of a program of study. So if you've not got the right GCSE grades, there would be the opportunities to resit those. It's mainly for the level 2 students. And I think one of the slides coming up in a minute will describe a little bit more about what you'll be doing as well as the qualifications on your program of study at the Oaklands College. So thank you, Susan. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Paul. Excellent. So we've got a vast array of different level qualifications you can do here at Oaklands. Within ICT and science, well, the ICT I know starts at level 1. In engineering, we start at level 2. So you can see there on the little graph the kind of qualifications that you need for those different entry points. I think, well, I hope the message has come through quite clearly that we love a bit of maths, and that's really integral in what we do across both of the curriculum areas that are presenting today for STEM. But just not to be despondent if you haven't quite got those entry requirements, because we will have a course for you that you can come in and start and then begin your academic journey onto the employment avenue that you like. STEM industries are very highly sought after as they have skills gaps, which means your employability options are excellent when you get out of college or university or whichever route you choose to take. So you can apply for as many courses as you like. So you may not know what your grade profile is going to look like at this moment. That's fine. So apply for as many courses as you like, and then you can select one and just do one when you start in September. Okay, next slide, please, Gary. Fantastic. So you'll hear the term study program a lot. When you come to college, you won't just be studying engineering. There is a whole wraparound of programme that is to develop you as a young person into an adult and ensure that you've got the correct skills that you need to go and be gainfully employed when you leave us. So we will continue to develop your maths and English skills, even if you come in with grade 9s in maths and English. Within your vocational studies, we will continue to develop those maths and English skills. So, for example, you might have to do a professional presentation, things like that, which again has a crossover with the employability skills that we will need to develop. We'll develop you personally as well. So you'll have tutorial sessions and where you'll cover things like staying safe online, careers advice, things like that. And then importantly, there's work experience, which is compulsory for all students to do. And the amount of hours vary. On the screen here, it says 20 to 40 hours. Many of our students do 60, 70 hours of work experience within the year. And we'll talk about work experience on a later slide a little bit as well. Okay, Gary, can you change the slide, please? Thank you. So how do our courses work? We're not a school. So when you come to FE, there's no school uniform, there's no bells telling you when class starts, when class finishes. And it's all about easing you into that transition into adult life. So the lessons vary depending obviously on the level and the subject really. So we have tutor-led presentations, lots of student activities, practical sessions where we can. So practical may not be in a workshop all day. It may be that you are doing some circuit board work in electronics lab, for example. Both of our courses are rather academic, so there's not tons and tons of practical or academic pathways. However, it will be spattered with some practical for you, so that you can really see how the knowledge and skills that you're developing apply in a real world situation. You'll get lots of tutor support. We've got, and we're getting quite good at this at the moment in the current situation, lots of online learning support is available to you on our VLE system. And we like to make sure that we try and cater for the individual student within a group as well. Next slide, please, Gary. Which brings me on to student support. This is my 5th college and I'm really proud of how much time and effort Oaklands put into supporting our students, whether it be going to the LRC for some additional help proofreading an assignment or finding out about financial support, counselling. Every student has a personal tutor, but again, we can refer people to specialists within student advice who can provide some really key information for people that need it. So we're here to support you, whether it's something going on at home or at college, whatever, we're here for you. Okay, next slide, please, Gary. Work experience. This is really important. We've got lots of links with lots of major employers across both Gary and I's department, and we try and get people plugged in so that they can have that valuable industry experience. It's just as important to find out what you don't really like doing as it is to find out what you really like doing. So that's very important. We've got a team of people that help give you placements, support you in finding your own placement, and then monitor and track how you developed your skills and knowledge whilst you're at placement. We're also moving forward to developing industry placements, which are in the changing face of FE. We'll be looking at doing 30 to 60 day industry placements in the next few years. So for some students, we are placing them. So for example, our relationship we have with Wilmot Dixon and Balfour Beatty is just very, very strong. They'll come in, they interview people and they'll take people on. In fact, over the last 2 years, the 2 people that they've taken on in industry placement are now gainfully employed with Wilmot Dixon and on their early careers apprenticeship program. So it's just fantastic success. Okay, thank you, Gary. Next slide. Okay, success stories. I'm really proud of our technician in engineering who is currently using our facilities while there's no students there to make those vitally needed face masks for the NHS. So we're using our 3D printers and printing off those visors, which are going off and being assembled to be distributed to those NHS facilities that need them. So super, super proud of that's going on. Okay, next slide, Gary. We've got some student testimonies. We could have done tons and tons of slides about these. We've got really good outcomes for our students. So you can see there we've got Tom, who did his level 3 with us, who's now studying a degree. And then with applied science, equally, we've got students that are going off into university and hoping to go to an apprenticeship or university. So lots of different options for you. Some students stay with us right through level 4, 5, and then even 6. I think just last year we had our first student who graduated with a first-class degree that started with a level 3 in construction from us. So he's actually been in the college part-time for about 6 years. So just really, really lots of options for you. And we look forward to having you start your journey with us really soon. Nadia.
Okay, thanks everybody. Really useful information there. So just talking about how you can apply for a course. You can apply for a course on our website, www.oaklands.ac.uk. If you need to talk to anyone about a course, you can email info@oaklands.ac.uk or chat to someone using our live chat functionality on the website. You'll see a little icon in the bottom right of the screen. You can apply for as many courses as you like if you're not sure at this stage, but you can only enrol on one. Once you've applied, our admissions team will review your application and be in contact via email. So please keep an eye on your inboxes. We know it's uncertain times with grades at the moment, but you will be collecting your results from school on normal results day in August, in line with the government guidelines. And we'll be in contact regarding enrolment in August once we've been made aware by the government of next steps. And we'll keep you informed between now and August of any news. And then once enrolled, your course will begin in September, and we look forward to welcoming you to Oaklands College. To keep up to date with college news in the meantime, please visit our website, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok and Twitter. And again, don't forget to visit our website for news and to apply for your course. So we're going to have a bit of a Q&A session now. We've had a few questions posted during the presentation. So I will start. So if anyone wants to pick up, we had a question: do I need any specialist equipment for science?
Thank you, Nadia, for the question. No, you do not need any specialist equipment for science. You just need to bring yourself and bring the equipment such as pens, pencils and books, and we will provide the lab coats. So when we're doing any practical lessons, we'll provide that, and we we carry out a risk assessment before we do any practical.
Okay. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you. Another question that popped up was, can I move from games to games design after doing level 2 ICT?
So I'll turn around and I'll field that one on behalf of Victoria, the manager for games design. So it sits in the media department. It would be a case of you would have an interview with the tutors. There's no guarantees because it depends whether you had done the modules in IT that would supplement and complement the games development. You will have done some, but that would be a conversation to have with the media department to see what their expectation would be, whether you'd have to repeat a level 2 or whether they could allow you to go into the level 3.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Another question popped up: how many IT students go on to uni?
That's a very interesting question, actually, because one of the things we're trying to promote now is students looking at higher apprenticeships, so degree apprenticeships. So lots and lots of students that want to go to university from the IT department get to university. Many get their first choice, but the idea that there's just one way of doing it now is starting to change. Much of what you've heard today from everybody talking about STEM highlights that the skills are needed in industry now. So that means that apprenticeships are a really good option, particularly if you've done your level 3 and then you go off and do your degree apprenticeship, because your employer will subsidize and pay for that, which is absolutely much better than incurring a big debt. It just depends on what you're looking to achieve. But a high majority of the students who do go to university get their first choice as well.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Another question, what equipment is needed for the level 3 engineering course? Oh, I think someone's just answered that on the chat. Okay. Okay, so another question then, how are students still having a telephone interview?
I believe if you haven't already been interviewed, you are going to be offered a conditional place if you're a new student from outside of Oaklands College. I believe that's the case, isn't it, Nadia? And then you'll be given a conditional offer. Sorry, could you repeat that, Susan? Just lost you. I believe students applying now that haven't already been interviewed, that are new to the college, they will be given a conditional offer based on their grades that they've put in, that they've been predicted. And then once the grades actually come through on GCSE results day, then you'll get a definitive place on the appropriate course. I believe that's the way we're doing it now. That's right.
It's also, I think, as well, and that's absolutely right, Susan, there is the conditional offer. But I think if somebody wants to talk to someone from curriculum, as Nadia has already outlined, that's still possible. And we're just trying to minimise the impact of doing telephone interviews when we're just giving that conditional offer, and we'll work out nearer the time what level someone will be on. As we've said through the presentation, there's definitely something for everybody at Oaklands College, and it's not about where they start, it's about where they finish. And there's been some great stories told today where people have sort of persevered and progressed through and, you know, got their first class honours and their degrees. So, yeah.
Lovely. Okay. Has anybody got anything to add? Any more questions coming through?
I would just like to add one thing, Nadia, about the potential to possibly do A-level maths alongside the engineering level 3. We're looking into that and to see if we could offer a discrete class at Welwyn Garden City using the engineering staff to supplement the delivery. This would also depend on the number of people that wanted to do that, and their grade profile would have to be higher than 4s. So we'll be looking at someone with 7s and 8s, whether they can do that, and that will enable them access to those red brick universities, Russell Group universities, to study a BEng in engineering potentially.
Yes.
Not confirmed, but we are looking into that.
Great. One question that does come up frequently is, how many days a week will I be at college?
3 days a week. You'll have timetabled lessons. You'll also have timetabled directed study lessons and e-learning. But I have to stress that, and I know Gary's team will support me in this, it's not just the time that you spend at college. Learning is not a passive process. You need to study. We will be given homework. It's not just about doing the assignments that we give you to attain your actual grades. You really need to have a thirst for your subject and research it, read around it, find out information on your own and be independent. But you do need to do some reading, and you do need to study, because this is knowledge that you need to keep. So we can't just tell it to you. You have to work hard, but it's worth it. And it's for you.
No,
Okay.
sorry, Nadia. Absolutely. I'm just going to reinforce that point so that everybody knows that your timetable is your contact time, but it's not your study time. That's the time that you'll get to spend with professional tutors, so the experts in their fields, but it's that thirst and that independent activity, that research, that's where we see students achieving the higher grades, which then make it easier for them to have the choices of the apprenticeship and the top universities. So most definitely support exactly what Susan has said there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any more questions, anybody? I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everybody for attending. Just to remind you that a copy of this webinar will be posted on our website, and if you signed up in advance for the webinar, it will be sent to you by email with links to further information. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everybody.